Now you can hear me. That's weird. I'm going to mute the first part of this film because it's got double perfs and it's very loud. This is animal behavior, the mechanisms of imprinting. This is where it's going. So I'm going to mute that for you.
From the first hours of life, ducklings recognize their mother and follow her everywhere. Do they know her instinctively? Are they born to accept only adult ducks as parents? Scientists once thought so until certain contrary observations caused a revision of their thinking. Does the color, sound, or texture of a toy affect the experiment? To find out, it's repeated with a different object and a second duckling. Again, the duck is 10 hours old and the toy the first object it's seen. And again, the animal peeps contentedly, approaches, follows, and responds to the toy as it would to a parent. Duckling 3, Experiment 3. The first two used toys that made sounds. To see if sound is significant, this experiment uses a silent toy. Though the balloon is silent, the duck's behavior is the same. Duck meets object, duck follows object, duck adopts object, and gets mighty upset when the object disappears. Again, the duck searches for the object. When it returns, there's no question that the duck recognizes it on sight. What if the object isn't a toy at all, but a rabbit minding its own business? Well, here comes duckling number 4, fresh from isolation. What will happen when it meets the seemingly skeptical cottontail? Another time-lapse sequence gives the answer. Despite the rabbit's initial reluctance, the duckling prevails, and in the process repeats the behavior pattern shown in the first 3 experiments. The pattern can be observed with almost any object, be it live or mechanical, noisy or silent, regardless of shape. When it's the first moving thing a duckling sees, the duck approaches, follows, recognizes, and soon depends on the object as it would on a parent. This behavior pattern is what's meant by the term imprinting. To Konrad Lorenz, who first observed it, imprinting proved that while ducks seek a parent by instinct, they come to recognize one only through learning. Lorenz also found that imprinting has limits. This duck is not 10, but 30 hours old. Watch the result as it meets the mechanical mutt from experiment 1. Would you call this approach, following, attachment? Hardly. The 30-hour duck wants nothing to do with the toy, so this experiment's result is the direct opposite of the first one's, even though all that differs is the age of the duck. What happens if we try it again with a different toy and another 30-hour duck? Scared? You bet. These experiments show that imprinting must occur during a certain time span, or it won't happen at all. The span is called the critical period. It begins 3 hours after birth and ends at about 30 hours. At a peak age of about 16 hours, a duck will imprint more easily and quickly than at other times during the critical period. Once imprinting has occurred, will it last? This real duck has firmly imprinted the mechanical one. The two are color-coded. And the duckling joins some others that have been exposed only to each other. Watch what happens 24 hours later. Even after a day, the duckling recognizes the toy. Not only does the imprint last, but appears every bit as strong as it was 24 hours before. And notice what's happened to the rest of the brood. Having been together throughout the critical period, they've imprinted each other. Once a duck has imprinted one toy, will it shift its preference to another? To find out, a second duck gets a necktie. So does a third. Once again, watch what happens after 24 hours when ducks and objects are reunited. The result is clear. Each duck has formed a detailed enough image of its own toy to remember and distinguish it from the others. The learning that results from imprinting is not only lasting and firm, but astonishingly precise. What happens in the laboratory also occurs in nature. Newborn ducks seek and follow the first moving object they see, which usually happens to be their mother. Within hours of birth, the ducklings have a firm attachment to her and a lasting, precise image of how she looks. They keep her in sight, assuring themselves food, warmth, protection, and a guide back to the nest. Imprinting has also been seen in other animals that can walk soon after birth. To scientists, imprinting is important as a link between instinct and learning. As for the animals themselves, it's a behavior that helps ensure their very survival.
All right, let's see if we can get the. Are we there? Yes. OBS, which is a wonderful open source program, sometimes just has a freak out, and yeah, it was not. For some reason, the microphone was having problems, which is very annoying, and I hope that that is not what's going to be happening in the future, because obviously we hate that. So I went to a conference last week, the Orphans Film Symposium, and saw a bunch of films. And one of the things that's clear is people find these film artifacts, either they were finished pieces or they're raw footage or whatever, and then they try to understand them. And so that's what we try to do here, is understand movies. And maybe this awesome film will help. Enjoy.
And as part of a continuing program of surveillance and intelligence, you will proceed to the designated area. The objective is the safe indicated in your initial briefing. Empty entire contents of the safe, as it is necessary to establish burglary as the motive. Warning: Ivan Rojak, a dangerous counteragent, is aware of your presence in the area. If you encounter him or in any way suspect that you or your intentions have been discovered, immediately abort mission. For your own protection, withdraw to Security Area 3.
There is a good chance we have all seen dramatic stories like this before. Some of us many times, at the beginning of mystery shows on television or in movie theaters. So it is quite familiar, and we can all understand what's happening. In fact, some of us are so at home with this little episode that we have come to accept it as almost natural, in a way almost real. Just how real are movies? How natural are they? How much do we really understand about how our agent gets about and what is happening to us in the process? You will find that in terms of your own natural sense of proportion and time, almost everything in this film is unnatural and a physical impossibility. Time as we know it and time in the movies are not the same. Let's take a look at some of the ways in which movies deal with time. Our agent gets into his car and takes off. He travels to another section of town. Climbs a fire escape, breaks open a window, climbs in and closes it, searches for and finds a safe. As you see by the clock, all of that took 44 seconds of movie time. But in our time, or our reality, it might have taken 20 or more minutes for the drive to the factory area. At least 5 minutes to locate and climb the fire escape. Another 5 minutes to investigate and break in. And let's say 4 minutes to search for and locate the safe. Movies compress or squeeze time. In 44 seconds, the movie has accomplished what in reality would have taken half an hour or more. Here's another example of compression of time. Let's look at it again and examine it a little more carefully. We see one picture and sound go away as another picture and another sound move in to take its place. A lot of unreality can happen in less than a second. Movies can also expand time or slow things down. Even stop time. So we can examine a particle of time hundreds of times longer than normal. Here is another example of expansion of time. Let's run it again and stop time, so we can get a look at what he's thinking. Here is how we saw it in the picture. Here we expand distance as well as time. Our agent is falling in slow motion, 4 times slower than normal. To make his fall seem even longer, we see the same thing 3 times from different places. Here are a few other unnatural things movies do to us. They make us see things larger and closer than humanly possible, and hear things louder than normal. In life, we select the sound we want to hear out of all the noises around us. In movies, all the noise is eliminated except the sounds someone else selects for us to hear. Sometimes we hear sounds we don't normally hear, without special equipment, that is. In the unreality of the movie, we, the audience, perform physical impossibilities. We are propelled about at great speeds, moved instantly from here to there. If you think our friend is moving fast, how about us? Here we are, standing on the sidewalk, watching him run down the street, when suddenly we find ourselves down the block, with our eyeballs sitting on the ground, watching him run right at us. Look out! Saved. We have been instantly placed out of harm 3 stories up. But, oops, here we go again. Now we become the man. We jump into his skin and run along with him. We really travel as we sit here. As a matter of fact, in this short drama, we could have traveled over 100 miles at varying speeds, taking hours or even days, all in less than 4 minutes, if you want to look at it that way. In our search for reality or non-reality in film, we have examined some of the bits and pieces that deal with our own sense of time and proportion. But who is to say that these elements, these bits and pieces, were arranged correctly in the first place? Rearranged, they might present a different kind of reality.
Because movies so greatly affect our lives, what we buy, how we vote, the causes we support, how we relate to other people, and our lifestyles in general, it is important to understand movies. The next time you see a motion picture, keep in mind your own sense of time, space, and proportion.
So someone pointed out, Nervous Norvis, transfusion, using that popular tire squeal. Alright, what do we got? What do we got? It's not at the archive, but where Katrina and I live is near 2 lakes, 2 small lakes, but we have herons. Lots of really awesome herons. So here's a short film about the great blue heron, which I think we have some, but we also have some green herons. And we also have a bald eagle, which is really awesome, which shows up occasionally. So here's the great blue heron, the great blue heron.
Each year in late February, I come out to this Missouri wildlife refuge to study one of the most beautiful and least understood of American birds, the great blue heron. In the next few weeks, between 1 and 200 great blues will migrate here from the south to reclaim the remnants of last year's nests. In early March, the first males begin arriving. After a short period of wandering over the heronry, the males choose trees for nesting. The females will fly up later. Every year I've come here, there have always been more male herons than available nests. Consequently, the males compete for the nest, the best and highest nests going to the strongest and most aggressive males. To get a nest, the male must violate the territory of another male heron. The territory includes not only the branch he stands on, but the airspace around it. Trespassing often incites a pursuit flight to decide who gets the nest. This pre-mating competition for the available nests helps to make sure that the strongest and most fit males will reproduce young. The loser must try again, or start a new nest from scratch. By the end of March, all the nests have been taken by the strongest males, and the waiting begins for the first females to arrive. Once they've mated, the two herons will remain together for the whole season. The male does most of the stick gathering, while the female places the sticks and prepares the nest for her future brood. A month later, in mid-April, I think I can hear the newborn chicks, but I'm not sure. The angle doesn't give a good view into the nest. I wait a few more days before deciding they've probably hatched. The best way I can find out is to climb the tree. My two herons live in a stand of sycamore trees in the middle of the refuge. To get up, I use ropes thrown over the branches above. After 2 years' practice, I can usually get to the top of one of these 120-foot sycamores in about a half an hour. One of the reasons so little is known about the great blues is that it's so hard to observe them. Another reason is that they're extremely wary of humans, and for good reason. We are the main threat to their survival. Many thoughtless hunters consider them fair game, even here in the wildlife refuge. And as we build more and more houses, we take their land and drive them away. The great blues always build their nests on the weakest and least accessible limbs to protect them from any predators coming up the tree. Well, I was wrong. They haven't hatched yet. I'll come back tomorrow. They're born with their eyes open, but almost helpless. My heron family is a typical size. At birth, they have just a sparse down insulation, which makes them vulnerable to any cold weather. 3 days later, an April snowstorm hits our refuge. Yesterday's storm took its toll, and all my nestlings died. Now the parents have to start over again. Through May and June, I continue to check the nest from time to time. All of the nestlings are doing fine, except the last one hatched. The runt. Weak from the start, he hasn't been getting his share of the food. Usually in nature, the weak do not survive, only the strong. But in this case, nature made an exception, and the runt lived. By mid-June, the nestlings are trying out their wings in the nest. The parents begin to feed the young less often, encouraging them to feed on their own. The aggressiveness of the young at mealtime now makes feeding by mouth more and more difficult. So the parents just drop the food in the nest. This period, when the nestlings are learning to fly, is particularly dangerous for them, and their mother knows it. Graceful as they are, Even the adult great blues have difficulty maintaining their balance in the trees. Even in light breezes, these creatures will occasionally miscalculate landings. If a fledgling falls from the nest and lives, the adult herons won't risk going to the ground to feed and care for it. The forest floor has too many predators. The fledgling must fly or die. In their first year of life, about 70% of the fledglings die. But life goes on, and the young fledglings continue to practice flying in the nest and on nearby branches. By early July, after 2 months of nest life, the fledglings are ready for flight. Soon the young herons will make their first flight south. When they return, if they survive, I'll be returning too, to study them.
Thank you, Jeremy and Burrow Owl, for donating via the Super Thanks button. That's a great way to support us. And that money goes for paying for things like... what's a good example? Oh, yes. USB hubs. So when we buy Mac hardware, they are getting less and less ports and basically going for some sort of USB-C or Thunderbolt, which means that all these other things, like this traditional USB, HDMI, network, SD cards, all that goes away. So buying a hub helps us continue to support legacy things. Apple likes to get rid of things well before they should. So anyways, technology. Behind me is a film scanner, and we have a film called One's a Heifer. See if you can figure out what this is about. Enjoy.
the bloody gate open like that.
Feels badly enough, Stanley. Now keep your voice down. The cattle cannot run very far.
They can be anywhere by now. Anywhere.
You're far too hard on him, Stanley. He's just a child.
Well, he doesn't eat like one. We can't afford to keep him if he doesn't start pulling his weight. And we sure as hell can't afford to lose 2 calves.
I'll send him out after them.
What in the Lord's name good would that do? Hitch up the horses, I'll go.
Don't be ridiculous, Stanley McDermott. You know what the doctor said. You are staying put.
You'll never find them, Ellen. It's just a waste of time.
You mustn't worry about what your uncle says, Peter. You know how he gets.
I will find him out, Ellen. And I'll bring him back.
If you have to stop, give them this for Tim's feed and your meals. Head east into the hills. I don't want you out riding after dark.
Don't worry about me.
And trust Tim. He'll help you. He's more of a bloodhound than a horse.
Let's go. Come on. Red and white, and one's a heifer.
Can't say for sure, son. I seen a herd a mile or so back.
Okay, thanks.
Good luck.
Guess they're not here. Let's go. It's not ours, Tim. Poor thing. That's them. Come on. Come on. What's wrong with you? Come on. Come on. Come on. Doesn't look like anybody lives here.
Don't you dare move! What are you doing here? I told you to stay. Hurt me, didn't you?
Our calves, they just went into your barn. If you'll just give me a hand, I'll get them and leave. Right away.
Those aren't your calves. I saw them go in their mine.
No, you're wrong. They're ours, all right.
I said, get!
They're trying to steal them. I'll get my uncle and the law.
All right. All right. All right. Come and see for yourself. All right. Wait here.
He's crazy, Tim. We're not leaving without those calves.
All right. You can come in and have a look around. Bring your horse in, too, if you like.
Come on.
Tie him up there.
Whoa. Stay here.
These must be the ones you saw.
Ours have white faces and socks. And one's a heifer. These are the cows you got.
Yes.
What's in there?
Nothing you'd be interested in. You've seen all the animals I have.
Well, maybe if I could just have a look, then I know they aren't in there.
There's a cellar down below. The floor's weak. You could fall through and break your neck. Come on, let's go.
Could we rest a while? We've been riding all day. We'll stay here in the barn.
No. Not here, no. The cabin's warmer. You can put your horse in there. I'll get him some feed.
You're in that stall, Tim. I know it.
The name's Arthur Vickers.
Peter McDermott.
I've been mending harness. Get careless living alone like this. Takes a woman anyway. And trying to get warm. I'll fix you some supper. Beans all right?
Sure. Sounds fine.
Like the biscuits? Made them myself.
Good.
I had a girl cooking here for a few weeks last summer. She didn't last. Useless.
Must get lonely here sometimes.
You have no idea how bad it gets. Weeks, months go by. No one to talk to. Never know what you're gonna say. Or do.
Maybe I'd better go now.
Well, not with that wind, that cold. Well, you best stay the night and get a good start in the morning. Besides, not often an old man like me gets company.
Okay. Thank you.
That's settled then. I'll go bed down the barn. See to your horse.
I'll go with you.
No. You stay here. We can play some checkers when I get back. play?
Oh, sure.
Oh, I didn't see that. That's a good move. It's been a long time since I played with anyone. Used to ask her to play. Hopeless. Had to tell her every move to make. No. And she'd sulk if she didn't win.
Man cheats sometimes. If I catch her, she says her eyes are bad.
The women can't play checkers. Can't concentrate long enough. You can't win. No matter what you do. Watch for women like her. I had a hard time getting rid of her. What did I tell you?
Maybe she liked you.
She liked me, all right. She came back just 2 weeks ago. Said her father threw her out. She came to marry me.
That's funny. Everybody knows the man's supposed to ask the girl.
It wouldn't stop her. The whole family is pickle short of a jar. There's 6 more just like her at home. Couldn't talk to her. All she'd do was sit there, where you are now, looking at me, never saying a word.
What happened when you wouldn't marry her?
Nothing happened. I told her to get out. Gotcha now. Never trust a woman. I did once. A long time ago. She ran off. Your move. Now they're all mine. You're tired.
Where shall I sleep?
Well, take the bed. Oh, go on. You first.
They could be anywhere by now. Anywhere. We sure as hell can't afford to lose 2 calves.
You can't win. You can't no matter what you do. No matter what you do. Watch it. Watch it. Watch it. Watch it. Oh, no, you don't.
That stall, Tim. That stall. I know.
There's a cellar. There's a cellar. As long as we fall through. Breakfast ready.
I think I better be going.
It's your breakfast.
Oh, no thanks. Thanks for letting me stay. Oh, this is for your trouble and Tim's feed.
Don't worry about that. And maybe you can come again. Stay longer. Huh? Hey! Don't want to forget that. We could go hunting. I'd like that. Well, I hope you find your calves.
Oh, thanks. So do I.
Yeah.
What's wrong with your colt?
Well, he dropped too late last summer. It won't make the winter, I'm afraid. There's his mother. Not a horse for riding. He's too nervous. Now, this one over here. He's the best damn riding horse in the whole county.
Ha!
How do you think you're doing? I haven't got your goddamn calves. Come back here. Come back. Yeah.
He's got our calves.
What are you talking about? Our calves are just fine. They came back about an hour after you left.
They couldn't have.
They did?
I saw them. I know I did.
You're gonna leave your horse out there all night?
No, sir.
And when you're finished, for God's sake,
Close the gate.
In that stall, Tim. That stall. I know that stall. I know that stall. I know that.
There's a cellar. There's a cellar. The floor is weak. The floor is weak. You can fall through. Break your neck. Fall through. Break your neck. You can't win. You can't, no matter what you do. You can't, no matter what you do. What? No matter what you do. What? No matter what you do. What?
Wow. 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 So, I have teacher's notes, teacher's guide. After viewing, I didn't ask you the before viewing questions. List all the reasons that Peter has for believing that Vickers is hiding the calves in the barn. Use the following list of words for vocabulary and spelling study. Prairie, atmosphere, depression, eccentricity, suspicion, antagonism, isolation, suggestion, loneliness, heifer. Go back to work. Okay. Working with a partner. Go back to the work you did. No. Okay. Conduct a mock trial of Pete, in which he is accused of seeing evil where it does not exist. Prepare and give an oral report to the class on the topic of life as a child on the prairie farm in the 1930s. One reason the viewer is tricked into going along with Peter's suspicion about Vickers is that we see Vickers through the boy's eyes and perceptions. Working in groups of 3, select a scene from the middle section of the film and rewrite it as you would appear from Vickers' point of view. Evaluate the scene by acting it out in front of another group. I'm sure that would be really popular. Hold a formal debate on the topic. People are responsible for the impressions we form of them. The film takes place in 1934. In groups of 4, not 3, 4, research the history of that year and make a bulletin board display to show major events and developments that affected international policies, North American society, and prairie farming. Read Grapes of Wrath and report on the class this novel's relevance to the study of people, events, and literature of the Great Depression. Research in literature, in the literature of sociology and or psychology, some of the studies of the effects of isolation on the personality of an individual. Make a written report to be delivered with discussion period to follow. Wow. That's a lot of work. Yeah, all today. I mean, this is the deal. So, like, you know, they make these films, and the idea is that they provide these teacher's guides as a way to, like, okay, well, we just showed this, so how can we enhance the experience and have kids or your students process what they just saw? So, there you go. One's a heifer. Thanks for joining us today. Thank you so much for donating and the thumbs up that you're giving us, and the likes and the subscriptions. You can also donate via ko-fi.com/avgeeks or patreon.com/avgeeks. Those are great ways to support us. Yeah, so we'll see you tomorrow, Wednesday. Everybody have a great rest of your day, and we will see you soon. I will not leave this channel running for 3 hours like I did yesterday. Everybody have a great rest of your day. We'll see you soon.